G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to the channel. Have a go at this for a cool critter. That is what we like to call a beachworm. Look at the size of it. Some of these are almost a metre long. Absolute monstrosities. Now these guys live where the water meets the sand on most beaches here in Australia. So in today's video, I'm over here on Fraser Island. I'm going to show you just how versatile beachworms are for bait. From little fish,
that's a better one. Oh, screw.
All the way up to hopefully some really big ones.
And have a go at that for a lump of worms. That's a whole beachworm on a 5/0 hook.
Check it out.
Have a go at that. A few frames here from yesterday's efforts. That'll get them going. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is where all videos about beachworms start. Low tide on the beach with a bag of stinking fish frames. Now, we're just about to go down to that water's edge there and see if we can't catch a few. If you don't know how to beachworm, don't stress. You can buy them from tackle shops as well. But today, whoa, we're gonna try and catch our own. Now, if I look like I'm moving around a bit, don't get too concerned. Just the march flies, or horse flies as we call them, are absolutely horrid at the moment, and they're trying to bite me through my shirt, through my pants, all sorts of stuff. So if you see me doing these ones, it's just, it's just, look at that, that's borderline helicopter. I'm just trying to not get bitten. But anyway, we're not going to catch them up here. Let's head down there and see if we can't get a few. What we're looking to do, swish this bag around, and when we see them stick their heads up for a look, we're going to present that. Use our fingers to go in beside them and pull them up. All easy in theory, but I will happily admit it takes a bit of practice, and often a few times to warm up.
As good as it looked at that first bank, it wasn't holding any worms at all. So it was back in the car for a short drive down the beach to the next one. Turns out that was a great call, as the next bank was absolutely stacked. Time to get to work.
Just like that, we got a beachworm.
Unfortunately, it doesn't take too long for that stinky worm bait to call in a few other visitors as well. So make sure you keep your eyes on the surroundings and definitely don't feed the dingoes any scraps. Best bet is to grab a rod holder or long stick, give them a bit of a move along, and hope they get bored and give up. In this instance, they weren't displaying any aggressive behaviour at all, but it's still a little uncomfortable trying to grab a worm down on your haunches with a dingo right behind you.
That's a good one.
And sometimes you just cop it from all angles. As if worming wasn't hard enough as it is, one of the dingoes came back down from the dunes to try his luck again. So I was half watching him while trying to catch this worm, and then a march fly landed and was biting my hand as well. A bit going on indeed.
at that. That is prime bait. Now, back in the day, it was always thought the best way to store your beach worms was by rolling them in dry sand and then storing them somewhere cool. Now, a good mate of mine, Drew Gardner, discovered that if you just leave them in a bucket of fresh salt water, then they will last a hell of a lot longer. And if you want to add sand to them to make them easier to grip before you go fishing, then do that. But in terms of long-term storage, a bucket of fresh salt water, and change that water as often as you can, particularly if you've got a good haul of worms like we do. You do need a few. It does take a while to collect them, but well and truly worth it in the end. Now I've got bait for the day. Can go see if we can't nab a few whiting and maybe a dart or two. Righto, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to put these worms to work. Now, given the nature of the tides at the moment, I've got probably about a couple of hours into the run-in. As a result, I would have loved to have chased whiting, but I don't think we're going to find any whiting water. I've just done a quick drive of the beach, and this is the skinniest section of water I've got behind me here. You can see there's a really shallow gutter just here, and then a bank, and then obviously white water. At that end there's a hole, and up that end there's a hole as well. So as a result, I don't think it's going to be whiting time, but because this gutter is nice and skinny, I'm going to hedge my bets and try and catch some anyway. Now realistically I reckon it's going to be Dart Park, but I'll go the 6 pound leader, little size 2 worm hook, and the light stick, the old 9-foot kids rod, and I reckon we'll see some dart action, but hopefully we can wrangle a whiting or two out here as well. Either way, we're chasing a good old beach worm mix bag, so it's not the end of the world if we get a few dart as well. They're good chewing. I like eating dart. Here are our worms, still wiggling away nicely. Avoid the wet hands here. You can come with me. Always try and pick out the halves and the broken bits first. The whole worms will last a lot longer than a piece of worm. Ow! March flies. Right, I reckon that'll get us started. Oh, I might need that, hopefully. There's a bit of shade. You don't want these out getting peppered by the sun. So we'll leave them in the shade. Just can't forget them. And we may as well do a little run through the rig. It is very much what you'd call a standard beach rig. Got a size 2 bean sinker and then about 40 centimeters a leader down to a hook. Now, bit of knowledge that a good mate of mine, Drew, who coincidentally is the same guy who told me all the stuff about the worms, Drew Gardner, he doesn't really use the piece of red tubing or anything like that, and I agree with him. I'm more of the opinion that if you've got the worms to spare, just use more worms. That's a bigger, more natural bait. There's no harm in having more bait sitting there to show them rather than a big piece of fake bait. But if you are pretty light on the worms, then by all means a piece of red plastic will probably work in your favour. I know I have days where worming is hard work, so a bit of red plastic will probably get you through those times. Now, just going to be pretty cautious that if I hook dart on this smaller gear, they are probably going to gut it. So we'll see how we go, see if we can pull a whiting up, and if I keep on getting dart, I'll change to a bigger hook and some more sturdy leader. Looks good though. We might be in with a shot. Rightio, that's my bait. Looks good. Let's sit it out there. Now I'm not going to go too close because that gutter is pretty close in, and I know I don't have to cast very far. Let's see how we go. Now what we're feeling for is the old rat-a-tat-tat of a whiting. A dart, we'll just grab it and go. Here we go. There we go. That feels very darty. Oh, even having a bit of line take. Yep. Culprit confirmed. And that was the old, just whoomper, not no machine gunning, just crunch. Well, there we go. Well guys, that didn't take too long at all. The whole humble dart, I did think we're going to be out of luck on the old whiting, and dart is the first victim, I think, in terms of our feed. I reckon high 30s for a feed. This guy's 34, so we'll try and get the hook out of him and send him home. There we go, hook out, send him back. Certainly not upset about a feeder dart if it happens. Would like the size to be up there a bit more though. And because the big ones go like the clappers on light gear. Bait number 2. There we go. There we go. Oh. That's a better one. Oh, Struth. Well, this is a bit more like the one we're chasing. This might be an eater. If it's a whiting, we've got a world record. I'm getting bitten by march flies as I'm fighting this fish. So a little bit annoying. Righto. Let's get some eyes on it. Hey. Are you an eater? He's a fighter. Yeah. He's okay. That's getting a bit better size. I don't know if you can see the marsh flies floating around. They're giving me a peppering. They're even going through the shirt. Ow! Look at that. I reckon that it's getting up towards eater size. 36. I reckon we can do better. This guy's lucky day. Maybe not. Maybe not. I think that guy's going to come with us. That smaller hook is too far down, so we've got our first eater. Now, as with all species, we're going to give them the old brain spike and bleed trick. This is a phantom tool. Sits in your hand like that, allows you to brain spike and bleed without using a knife, going back to the car, all that sort of stuff. Now, we can't show it on YouTube, but there is a video of how it's done on my website where you can purchase these. Now I'm going to take this guy straight up to the car, chuck him in the esky, and I think our suspicions have been confirmed. It's going to be a dart session until that next low tide, which is not until the arvo or tomorrow morning, whichever we decide to attack. And I'm going to change over to some heavier leader, some 12-pound leader and a bigger hook so they can't swallow it every time. And we're going to get straight back into the action. It's a good start though. Alright, bigger hook, stronger leader. Let's get after it. Now, a gutter like this, absolutely anyone can fish it. Perfect one for the kids. They only have to cast 10 meters, if that. 15 max. Since we've got the dart gear on now, I'm going to move down into where it turns into more of a hole as opposed to the long, thin gutter. I reckon all the dart that are in here are all coming from there, so I may as well just go straight to the source. Now, there's a lot of... Oh, I think I'm on. No. A lot of water moving through here, so may end up needing a bigger sinker. Got him. What's this? The dart. Just swimming straight in. Might be something else. Or is it just a small dart, is it? Oh. Just a small one. On again. Oh, missed him. Missed him. No. Seem to have found a nice patch of fish. It's just going to be weeding out those bigger ones. 2 in a row pretty well as soon as it hits the water. But no real size, so we'll see how we go. If it's a school of small ones, then we'll move again. I reckon the ones that were cruising up that whiting drain were better, so I might even head back there if we need to. Oh, that's a better one. Just when I thought we'd lost hope, that definitely feels like a better one. This is too much fun. And on this lighter gear, you actually have to play the bigger dart. They just get on their side and just don't want a bar of it. Come on, Mr. Dart. That's a better one. That's a bit better. Chuck the measure on him. $37. That's a nice dart. He can come with us and join our feed. Love to see some in the 40s though.
With only a couple of smaller fish in the next few casts, it was time to head to another gutter in search of some variety. With the tide well and truly on the way in, I decided to ditch the super light setup and break out my dart setup, which is a 12-foot surf rod, a 625 Alvey and 12-pound mono. The new gutter was a deep foamy hole that looked perfect for some more dart and maybe even a tarwhine or bream.
That's a bit of tarwhine. That's a better one. Might even put a measure on him. Look at that. There you go. A keeper tarwhine. It's 27 centimeters. He's a nice fish. They are delicious eating. Hopefully he's got a few friends in there as well. Well, not a good time to have the camera off. There's a better tarwhine again. Look at that. Lovely fish. Oh, get some sun on him. Lovely fish.
After that next cast resulted in a suspicious bite off, I thought I'd put the worm mission on hold temporarily and see how many more hungry tailor were lurking around the gutter. Given the conditions and a nice offshore breeze, the lure of choice was a duo ghost minnow. They are absolute tailor candy, but usually struggle for distance off the beach. But on a day like today, absolutely perfect.
Well, that's a better one. On the minnow, off the beach.
The Tailor fishing had been slow for the couple of days prior, so I was planning on capitalising on this bite if possible and loading up on some fresh fillets to test out a brand spanking new recipe some friends had shared with me. And of course, the first ingredient on the list, a haul of fresh Tailor. Let's just say, on this occasion, the Tailor were on. So here's a bit of a brief run through of how the session went.
Welcome to the afternoon session, ladies and gentlemen. Been home, I've had a feed, had a little snoozy, and now it's time to get back into the action. Still a bit of bump on, and tide's still a little higher, so I've opted for my 12-foot dart rod, so I can cast a bit further, and also chuck a bigger sinker, and then keep that line up above the waves. Sinker straight on the hook, and then camera's going off everywhere, and then I've got the 12-foot rod. I might even have to go up the size of the sinker, but I'm going to fish this area here, see how we go, start off our afternoon in style. What do we got here? Feels a little darty. Oh no. Well, that is unexpected. 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the afternoon, and a little school dew on a patch of worms. Now, that's what I'm going to be targeting later on this evening, not right now. I was chasing bream and tarwhine, but certainly won't say no. I'd like to see him in about 10 more kilos time though. What a beautiful fish. Get the hook out of that guy and send him straight back. Wonder if he's got any mates. go home. Just up my sinker size a little to give it a bit more hold. Hopefully there's some more dew there. That'd be very cool. Oh. Missed a bite. Oh, that's a good fish. What have we got here? Well, there you go. Dewey or mulloway number 2. Only pups, but pretty cool to be getting them during the day. No brim, but 2 school dew. Got another one. Got a bit to go. Ah. There's Mr. Tarwhine. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's a tarwhine, not to be confused with a brim. Slightly different. He's a bit small. Sorry, there he is there. He's a bit small, send him back. But I thought they'd be here. See if we can find his big brother. Got him. Oh, I think we got tarwhine number 2. Oh no. Regular, no, tarwhine. Again. Just that little bit too small. See you, mate.
With the afternoon dragging on, there was time for one more cast before choosing a likely looking area for the dusk and night session. Also had to allow some time to set up the heavy gear as well.
There's a good fish. Might be a dart. have we got here? Yeah, it's a dart. Nice one though. There you go. That's a real one. That's in the 40s. Happy with that. Even gave a bit of a go. Not the tarwhine we were chasing, but it will do, and he can come home with us. Righto guys, now it is time to chase some unicorns. The little gear's been put away. I've got my Tailor rod, big Alvey set up, and have a go at that for a lump of worms. That's a whole beach worm on a 5/0 hook, and then nice big trace and a size 10 sinker. And I'm going to lob this out. I'm fishing with a good mate of mine, Greg, and his family, and we're going to lob it out into this deep dark hole here. It's well and truly into the night. We've been using flesh baits and getting a few Tailor, and now it's time to chase a Jew. Fingers crossed this gets eaten. Now usually I'd like to thread it up the line a bit more, but the worms aren't holding together as I like, but that's okay. That's still a delicious Jew bait. Hopefully it gets eaten. Well, ladies and gents, have a go at that on a big ball of beach worms. You saw the hook, you saw the clump, there it is right in the corner of the mouth. There was no mucking around with it, none of that, just whoomp and down the hatch. And that is an absolute epic. That's my biggest surf Jew. And I'll tell you what, that guy just kept on going and going and going. Could have thought it could have been a ray or something like that, but thankfully we got our big bit of chrome. Just goes to show how versatile beach worms are. You can catch from fish like this all the way down to 20 and 30 centimetre whiting. Unbelievable. What a cracking end of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, Greg's hooked up as well. Haven't got an ID on this fish yet, but it's giving him some curry. He's using a big slab of flesh. So very Jew orientated bait as well, and big Tailor and all sorts of stuff. So it's really annoying fishing with a big light in your eyes, so I'll turn it on once we're going to land this fish.
59 centimetres.
Hang on.
Beautiful fish, aren't they?
Yeah, well the last one was a shark.
This time a Jew.
Lovely. And that one fell to the big old slab bait.
Yeah. Little brother.
Yep. That's right. They're still around.
Yeah.
That's good.
Bit of action.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is what I call a mixed bag of lollies. We've got dart, we've got tarwhine, the Tailor. They definitely came on worms, as you saw. Big flashy silver diving worms. And then the big mulloway, we got him on worms as well. Now, I honestly thought the Jewfish was going to be the Hail Mary. I thought whiting, easy, dart, easy, tarwhine shouldn't be too hard, and then we'll chance it on a big Jewy. Not only did we get the big Jewy, we got two other small ones, and not a whiting to be seen, but that's alright. They do eat worms, I can promise you that. I'll chuck in a bit of footage from another trip just to prove it to you. We might even do another beach trip and give him a bit of a hassle as well. But that is a cracking feed of fish. I do have something very special planned for the Tailor, so I'm glad I did find a few in the end. If we have enough time, I'll show you this episode, but for now, I've got some fillets to knock off, and most importantly, a well-earned beer, because a couple of days on Fraser and a haul like that deserves it. Proudly brought to you by my mates at Liquor Legends. Cheers, guys. And I think it's only fair that we fill it the Jewy. That's the prize. Let's get to work.
couple of beautiful fillets of mulloway or jewfish there. They're really good eating, and I'm very happy to say with this one in particular, very few worms. Now, mulloway or jewfish, they do suffer from worms in the flesh. Now, it sounds gross, but it's not that bad. You just cut them out, and that's as far as it goes, or you freeze it and cook it real good, and it kills them anyway. But I've cut them up before, and they've been riddled, and it's a real pain in the ass because you end up losing a lot of flesh as you cut them all out. But this one, absolutely bugger all, so that's really good news. I've got that frame there, just going to knock the wings off, and then I might even grab the jewels out as well. But again, a bit of a gory process, so I'll leave that for the off-camera side of things. This is going to go in the fridge, get started on the Tailor and dart as well. Good old feed, and I've got something cool to show you after this, hopefully. If we've got time, got something very cool, stand by.
Now, before we get stuck into the cooking, I just have to show you this awesome bit of footage from another recent trip to Fraser. Beach worms for bait, and a brand new species ticked off the bucket list for me. Check it out.
They got a lot of power. Right? They got a lot of power. Have a go at that.
Oh, he's pulling? That's why he's pulling?
Oh my goodness. What a ripper.
Here we go. See you, mate. There he goes. We're going to measure it.
Oh, how good, how good.
Epic! Permit off the beach. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I did tease the idea that I was going to show you something special. I said if there was time, and look, I've made the executive decision. We just have to make time for this one here. This is a revolutionary way to have your Tailor, something I'm very new to. I've just had my eyes opened up, and I think it is absolutely fantastic. I'm sure it's not a new way of doing things. Actually, I'm very sure it's not a new way of doing things, but I've never even considered it, and I've tried it for the first time recently, and oh my goodness, I am hooked. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make Shelley's pickled fish. Now, who is Shelley? Well, over the years, we've spent a fair bit of time on Fraser Island. We go up for 2 weeks every year in October, and I also go up from time to time on other little fishing missions. Now, as such, you get to know some of the locals and the caretakers that live on the island for a fair period of time. And Les and Shelley are one of those couples. Now, they live on Fraser Island for 6 months of the year. They know all of the ways to have Tailor. If you're going to be there during Tailor season, you're going to be eating a fair whack of fish. This is going to be a very quick run through of how to do it. I've already tried it. I did a test run myself, and I'll tell you what, it is super simple and big yum yum. So let's get stuck into it. And I haven't tried it on any other fish yet apart from mulloway, but I'm sure you could do it with absolutely anything and the results be fantastic. Let's get into it. Okay, first of all, get 2 pans on the heat, then cut up a couple of onions into large rings. Chuck them in there, and you want to cook them until they're translucent, but still crispy. Don't overcook them. Cut up your skinless, boneless Tailor fillets into manageable sized chunks. Now, this recipe should do about 8 to 10 fillets. Then dust in your favourite seasoning and a bit of flour. And then lightly fry in a pan with some oil.
Once they're finished frying, chuck the fish and the onions on some paper towel to drain off any excess oil. In a saucepan, add 1.5 cups of vinegar, white or brown, half a cup of water, half a cup of brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of corn flour, 1 teaspoon of mustard seeds, 1 teaspoon of peppercorns. I like mine lightly crushed because I don't like crunching into those big corns themselves. A couple of pinches of salt, a large spoon of curry powder, and 1 bay leaf. Give it a stir, chuck it on the heat, and bring it to the boil. Okay, we're almost there, guys. Grab yourself a jar or another glass container. I have heard glass is the best. And what we're gonna do is start layering the fish and the onions, and then adding that boiled pickling solution to each layer, and then starting a new layer until the jar is full or you run out of fish. Righto, the final top up. Make sure the bay leaf goes in. Beautiful. Righto. Seal it up and then chuck it in the fridge for 2 to 3 days before you start eating. That'll give it a chance to cool down and set, and it should look a little something like this. Have a go at that. These are the rest of the Tailor fillets that I did earlier in the week, and I'll tell you what, halfway through this one already, it is very, very moreish. It is an absolute winner. Let's do a bit of a taste test. Now guys, we've been smashing this on wraps, we've been having it on crackers. I'm sure you could put it through salads and all that sort of stuff, but half the time it doesn't even make it that far out of the jar. You just bang it straight in the mouth. There's that many flavours in there. It is just an absolute treat. Like I mentioned before, guys, I'd never tried this before until this year's Fraser trip. Had a piece and went, oh my goodness, why did I ever let a Tailor go in my whole existence? It is that good. You have to give it a try. It is one of those things that you don't know it until you try it. And I tell you what, I am a 100% believer. And I'm sure you could play around with those recipes and customise them to your taste and add and subtract things, all that sort of stuff. But massive shout out to the Fraser crew, Les and Shelley, and of course Greg and Murray. Guys, thanks for having us and thanks for your company up there. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching the episode. Really hope you enjoyed it. The versatility of a beachworm, who would have thought? From small fish all the way to massive. And of course, you may even get roped into a Tailor spin session along the way. Guys, thanks again. Hope you are all safe and well. Hope you're catching a few fish yourself. Of course, I almost forgot. Don't forget to head over to Sammy Hitzke Fishing if you'd like to grab any merch. Guys, I'm going to enjoy this, and then probably a few more pieces, and then probably a few more pieces once again. And in 3 days' time, I've got that new batch ready to rock and roll. Guys, thanks again. Cheers. Bon appetit. Beautiful. And if you're not careful, one of these guys will bite your toe clean off. Do you believe me? No, I'm just kidding, of course. They won't bite your toe off, but they make fantastic bait.